type of hiccups, uh, I mean, it could be out in like the next day or two. I mean, we're really close to it. Um, in terms of the marketing stuff, I have a call with our marketing agency today. I'll probably actually call Brad after I get done here. But essentially, kind of like what I'd said in the last AMAs, I didn't really want to do any marketing until we had version 2 out because I'd prefer to take as much advantage of the token tax as we can. Because to me, that makes the most sense. Um, right now, what the team is working on, and I don't know if they've put it out yet because I haven't actually checked the. I'll check the Twitter real quick just to see. Um, but they're putting out kind of a. They're gonna put out like a. Yeah, they did. Okay, cool. Yeah. So in case you guys haven't seen, I'm gonna put this in the general chat. But essentially, they're kind of explaining what they mean by DeFi X and why that one won, and why that one won. Because to me, it makes and when we were trying to figure out like how we were going to explain it, um, we'd been kind of bouncing around. How do we best want to explain like what the fuck it is? Because basically, at this point, Midas DAO is more or less we've combined a lot of elements from a lot of different things. So you're looking at like Olympus DAO. We have like a Safe Moon tokenomics type tax. We have the farming as a service. We're doing metaverse investments, play to earn gaming investments. Um, so it's a mix of like Olympus DAO, Time, and then MCC. Plus, like Golden Boy had said in the last AMA too, with the way we have our tax set up, especially with the scaling tax system, it would kind of do away with the need for rebases. So that's something that I haven't really seen in any other rebasing DAO. This was I'll answer this question since it's in the chat. Let me see here. He said, man, you're a dick, bro. Golden Boy said you're a pimp at first, and then he said, simp, man, fuck you, bro. If we are moving away from high APY rebase, why the staking tax? And NFTY Ned, Nifty Ned, I guess. It's DeFi X. We want DeFi X one. The votes reset for some reason, but DeFi X was winning the first one, and then it like won the second one pretty handily. So back to the question here: if we are moving away from high APY rebase, why the staking tax? I don't think we're going to be moving away from high APY rebases. At least that wasn't the plan in any of the team discussions. We're going to make it to the point where it's like sustainable. But essentially, so like when Peaceful and myself had been talking about kind of like a new acronym or like a new type of name to come up with what we're doing, most of it is built around sustainability. So because we have like 2 investments that we're going to be getting in here with the treasury, both of them are going to be over 6 figures. It makes sense that with those profits, because they're going to be, they're going to be like, I don't want to say they're no lose situations because I can't really, you can never really guarantee that something's going to go up. But the type of deals that we cut with the 2 projects are almost like no lose type situations. Like we're going to make a good amount of money on those investments from our treasury. So when you look at stuff like that and you look that we're going to be doing some targeted buybacks with the profits from that, I think that gives us a little bit more flexibility to do higher APY. Like right now, so I haven't checked to see so we're at 6 million APY. And you guys got to also realize too, some of the reason the runway is low for 6 million, low is relative. 35 days is a long time in crypto. But some of the reason the APY or the runway is low and the backing per crown is low is because we literally like have a massive chunk of the treasury just not there. like the liquidity is pretty thin right now considering where it's at. Um, so when you add all that stuff back in, you can expect to see things like the I think somebody just knocked on my door, guys. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. I live in an apartment complex and paid for a garage for my car because I got a C8 Corvette and I didn't really want to keep parking that thing in like public parking spots. And for some reason, like my garage door had been broken, so I've been waiting for them to fix it. And I guess they just got around to doing it. So that's sick. Um, Back to what I was saying though. Once we have the treasury and stuff added back into it, you can expect things like the runway and the backing to look a lot better. But I think as kind of like Jade had. No, I don't have an Inventador. That's just a song lyric, bro. That's not like a. That's not like an actual thing. I'll get a if I get over that 8 figure hump. If I get over that this year, I'll probably get an Inventador. Maybe I don't know. Um, and yeah, so the people kind of asking why it's just me doing it. The dev team is pretty much for the most part still working on things. So like for instance, as I was saying, we're really close. We're really close to version 2 at this point. I mean, I'm not gonna put like a timeline on it per se, but we're really like really close. I mean, it could be something to where like I'm just not. Yeah, we're just close. Okay, like we're really close. I don't want to get Golden Boy pissed off at me. So the other thing they're also working on too is going to be the updated UI for this shit too. It's going to look crisp because like right now, I mean, if you go to Wonderlands, if you go to their whole shit, it ours looks pretty similar to that. Considering we're wanting to like stand out on our own, especially with rebranding to the DeFi X stuff. That's kind of like what we're wanting to do, and that's something I've also talked about with the marketing team too. Is kind of there's different branding directions that we're going in. Because I mean, right now we're at like what 42, $43. I mean, the markets are shitting themselves right now across the board. So I'm really pleased with where we're sitting at right now. But yeah, and then in terms of one little thing, and then I'll just start going into questions if you guys have them. Because like I said, I don't really. I just wanted to kind of do an informal like AMA, so you guys know that like, hey, we're still here, we're still doing shit. Um, that so the version two is obviously our main focus right now. But as I've said in a couple of tweets, and I've said in here, my main focus is really like our kind of I guess you would say grand plan, and I really can't go into it too much because I don't want to we're not ready to disclose like what we're doing. As I've said, I haven't seen any other project in crypto that's doing it. Um, it was mainly P Swole's idea. I tweaked some things about it. We're really fortunate that a lot of the guys in the team are super connected. Um, like I said, the only hint I was able to give really is that before we can announce like what we're doing, we have a lot of legal and legwork we have to do. There's going to be a lot of traveling that members from the team, myself included, are going to need to do. It's a massively ambitious plan. Solid, who just actually posted in the general chat, is going to be like super instrumental in helping us get some of this stuff done. But I'm excited, man. There really is, like I've said, I've not seen anything, any project, central exchange, VC fund, other protocols. I've not seen anybody try and do what we're gonna try and do, and I think we have a good chance at doing it. Because, like I said, we have some really, really well connected guys, and um, the funny thing is that it was P Swole's idea, but Solid and I had actually talked, and it had been something he'd been thinking about. But he was a one man crew, so it was a lot more difficult. This type of thing, like I said, it's going to take a lot of legal work, and it's going to take a lot of legwork on our part. I don't know about doxing. I'll KYC with anybody. If I have to KYC with an organization, I'm okay with it. But just for me personally, I don't know how comfortable I am anymore in um, like publicly doxing myself. Just because there's a lot of weirdos in this space, man, and I just don't really want to deal with that type of drama in real life. Um, but yeah, so that thing, our whole grand plan, you probably won't don't expect to really hear anything until after V2 launches. Um, yeah, that's pretty much as I want to give away about that right now. Because really, until we have like some concrete stuff, there's no point in me announcing it right now. Because if we announced it right now, um, everybody would say it's too ambitious. You guys haven't done any work on it yet. You guys don't really know, and that's true. It's too ambitious of a plan for us to just talk about. Like, there's actual things that we need to have done and set in stone for us to announce it, and then you guys, the crypto world, take us seriously at that point. Because if we just say, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," most people are just gonna be like, "Okay, cool, good luck." Like, okay, yeah, we'll see, bro. Um, so we need to have like a lot of stuff done beforehand before we can come out and say this is like our master plan. Basically, this is our grand plan. This is what will take us to 10 billion market cap. And I really am confident because I'm telling you guys, you guys have told me, don't overhype it. There's really nothing I can say um, that will truly describe like how, I mean, I can't hype it up enough. Basically, it's too fucking bullish for me to really like overhype it. It's too bullish. All right, so let me go ahead and just do some questions here. Nepson, I'll allow you to speak, man, and then Pat the cat, you can talk to if you guys have questions. I just invited both y'all to. What can we expect in terms of our returns comparing today's rebases to what's? And then Bagla? Man, I'm not even going to try and say your name, but it's the guy with the Darth Vader picture. So I just invited you up to speak. Nebson, what's up,
Hello,
man?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to refer my question to the marketing side. I don't know how much you can disclose, but so last AMA you said that we would be marketing a narrative. Can you like go over that a little bit, what that narrative would be?
Yeah, so that's actually something I'm going to be talking about too here with Brad. And Brad's the contact guy we have with Profit Commerce. Let me see. Let me grab his name real quick. Brad. Man, I hate pronouncing last names. Holland, Holland, Holland. I don't know, man. But yeah, so that's actually something I'm going to be talking about here with Brad a little bit later today, because some of this stuff has changed from our last AMA. So we've had to change up some of the narrative that we're going to be going with. The main narrative that we're going to be pushing now is the DeFi X stuff. It was either DeFi 4.0 or DeFi X. Kind of the gist of it was that we're doing something that nobody else is doing, and we're going to make it sustainable. So now that we have like a label we can give it, that's really what we're going to be pushing, is this whole concept of DeFi X, that we're mixing a mix of like time tokenomics with a safe moon tax. Then we also have MCC components to it too. But instead of reflections going to holders, the profits on those investments will go directly back into Crown, and either burning the tokens to lower emissions or increasing the LP, which just makes whales and people happy. Um, so yeah, the DeFi X, that's really going to be what we're pushing here, because we want to be able to like separate ourselves from just the standard Olympus DAO stuff and time stuff. And I mean, you've even seen, I mean, if you follow Danny on Twitter, I mean, they're doing different things too now with time. The old, just straight Olympus DAO tokenomics, I don't think work. I think that's what you're seeing with Olympus DAO just like floundering right now. It's like, okay, it was the first one. First movers advantage usually wins. And I think that's what we have here with our version 2, is that we're going to have a first mover advantage in this. I think we're going to be the largest type of rebasing DAO with the tax. Um, but you're looking that first isn't always best. I mean, at this point, Olympus DAO, there's really nothing special about Olympus DAO other than it was the first one to do it. Um, at this point, it's really about who can take that model and who can take other models, make it into one thing that actually works. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing here with Crown. I don't know if that like answered your question.
Yeah, that was a perfect explanation. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Jay Mini, what's up, dude? Your mic is muted, so I don't know if you had a question you wanted to ask. I just invited you up here.
There we go. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. So my first question is, like, with everything we're doing, how is all of that really going to come back to the holders of Crown? Like, how are we going to see the profits? And second question is, what do you see like our price floor reaching?
I mean, anytime we start talking about price, it gets a little. So I'll kind of address the questions in kind of different pieces. I think first of all, to start, what's the benefit for the holders? The biggest benefit for the holders on this is really going to be that instead of just doing the reflections, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air on tokens that have reflections on it. Sometimes it's nice, but really for me, I almost never care about reflections. I think the better method to do with most of these MCC type tokens is instead of just doing reflections to the people, why wouldn't you want to boost the token itself? Like, okay, let's say we make like a couple 300, 400, $500,000 in profit. The larger our treasury gets, the bigger we'll be able to do investments. So let's say we make $3-4 million in profit off something. Why wouldn't you want to just put that directly back into Crown, like the token itself? That would really boost up the price and would also allow us to either add that to LP or burn it. And I think as a result of that, because if we can do more and more burns, that allows us to also tinker with the APY a lot more. Now that is, I can't give like because that's really going to be up to the dev team. Honestly, what does sustainable look like? Right now, 6 million APY. I'm really comfortable with personally. I think it's in a really good spot APY wise. But that's really going to be kind of up to the team to decide. Okay, what's sustainable with this constant flow of money coming in from the treasury investments. What does sustainable really look like? And that allows us to kind of tinker with the APY some. And I think that'll always give us a competitive advantage over these other time tokens. So I think that's probably the biggest way to just kind of sum up your question. How will it benefit the holders? Because essentially, the Midas touch that we were doing when we had done a couple buybacks and burns, essentially the profits from the MCC component of Crown, or I'm not even going to say MCC component, the just farming as a service component of Crown is going to help with the buybacks and burns, and people loved those. So I think that would be kind of best, and it also gives us the opportunity to not have to rely on our own internal token volume because our treasury is working for us, even if Crown doesn't have like a ton of volume or something. And then in terms of a price floor, man, I've said I felt comfortable with 100 before 100 before version 2 launches. It depends really. Unfortunately, the market is not in the greatest place. But I mean, and some of it too is I kind of know when we're gonna launch too at this point. Because I'm in the team talks. Uh, man, I don't really want to give a price floor. Honestly, that's just because I know when we're gonna launch, and I don't know. Yeah, so in terms of price, I'm just gonna stay away with the price point. I will say my original thing is I had liked 100 before version 2. But yeah, I hope that answers your questions.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Bird 2, I'll allow you to speak, and then Jolly Dangerous, I'll allow you to speak too. Then Annihilator, I'll allow you to speak.
Hello,
Yo,
can you hear me?
yes, sir.
At one point in time, sorry, I may be not up to speed here. At one point in time, we mentioned that moving on to the migration to V2, the quantity of tokens would change. Like for example, one to 10 or 1 to 100. Is that still on?
Oh no. So our token, we've decided that we're gonna stick with the one-to-one token swap. We think it makes the most sense for the tokenomics. So we're gonna be sticking with the one-to-one token swap instead of doing. Because yeah, you're right. We had talked about doing 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, but no, we're gonna be sticking with just 1 to 1.
Right. Thank you for that. And so, are you expecting that the launch on V2 would be around the same price for token as you end up on V1 before obviously you perform the migration?
Um, that is honestly probably, I believe so. I think that's what Jin had said in one of his most recent announcements was that the price is going to be whatever the price ends at version 1 will be the price that V2 starts at. I had originally thought the price would be a little bit higher, but I don't believe that's the case.
Have you're utilizing the same funds and shifting them from one platform to the other, so I believe it's only acceptable that you'll have the same value as you end
Yeah,
up on the last day on V1, right?
yeah, I believe that's going to be the case. Yeah,
Right. Thank you. That's all from my end.
awesome.
Thank you.
Suwoop, I allowed. If you got a question, man,
Yo, what's up?
what's
I
up?
was just wondering if we're still looking into implementing throne nodes at any point down the road.
So, man, nodes. I'm gonna be honest. Nodes really is not really high on our priority list right now. I think we'd be more in favor, team wise at least, of doing some type of staking where instead of it like there are different staking options. Kind of
Like
similar
periods
to
of time.
Node. Yeah, exactly. So we would have like different staking options that maybe you are staked for 1 week and you get like a set amount of APY. I think we're more in
Right.
favorable of that than just doing nodes. Um, and mainly because there's, man, I just, a lot of the node protocols, because I, after that AMA, after that, the first AMA we did, I looked into getting into a couple nodes and it just doesn't seem like they can sustain is the issue. And I feel like if we implement nodes, and the team kind of feels the same, if we implement nodes into version 2, um, we need to do it in a way to where it wouldn't burn us out. We need to figure out a way to make it sustainable. So right now, it's not that high on our priority list. And like I said, as the team at this point, I think we prefer to just do some kind of different staking options instead of going the nodes route.
All right, that sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Gantoris and Anna Latour. Gantoris, what you got, man?
Bro, thanks for doing this today. Question for you. I'm trying to understand the reason behind the buy tax. I completely conceptually get the sell tax purpose. Can you help me understand the reason for buy tax in V2?
Yeah, so I mean, we wanted to do the buy tax because essentially, when you can think of the tax, so it's 6% in, 6% out. It's really a cumulative of like 12%. Um, Either way, a portion of the because we're kind of implementing like a safe moon tokenomic of the tax, having a portion of it on buys and sells going into liquidity is just going to be nice. It makes the most sense for people to be buying and then staking and then selling at a later date. But we want to be able to get people coming in and then going out as well. Because essentially, if we just did a sell tax, it just didn't make much sense to us as a team to do that. Because if it's a 12%, that's a pretty, especially if you think of it just from the perspective of somebody that's buying purely just to flip it, the type of person that is buying the token is going to hold it for 15, 20 minutes and then sell it. Those are the people we kind of want to be able to penalize. Ideally, when somebody's getting into Crown, we want them to buy the Crown, stake it for a long period of time, and then start taking profits from the staking. or sell it or sell the full amount whenever they want to. But we don't want is what we had on version 1, where when we started dipping, we had massive price swings because whales were throwing 200, 300,000 in and then selling for 500,000 later. So we just didn't, essentially the 6% on the buys and the 6% on a sell really prevent any type of meaningful swing trading going on. We love whales. We just want the whales to play nicely with us, essentially. If you want to whale into Crown, we prefer that you stake it and be with us longer term than just trying to do a quick flip, essentially. Or, yeah.
I get the thought process. It just seems like you'd want more people to get in versus getting out, right? So it would seem like the sell would be the area where you'd want to tax, or maybe tax higher versus the buy.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty comfortable with doing the buy and the sell tax. I mean, we talked about just doing a hefty sell tax instead of doing anything on the buy. But we're pretty comfortable doing the buy and the sell tax because, like I said, we prefer to get people coming in too. And there are going to be, I think, a lot of people that buy in and then just stake it and probably don't touch it for days to weeks at a time. So it would be nice to get those type of people that are going into staking too, that we can get them on the way in and then eventually on the way out as well. And I think, wait, what is this? Golden Boy just sent me a DM. Sorry. Honestly, man, Golden Boy, you should just come in the you should just come in the AMA too, dude. I'll get to that in a second. But did that kind of answer your question?
It did. Appreciate it, bro. I'm glad
Awesome.
to hear
Thank you,
your
man.
garage got fixed. Cheers.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Anna Latour, I don't know how to say your name, man. Do you have a question too?
Yo, hello, Pen. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
I would like to ask a question about Thrones, but it has been already answered. So my next question is about the APY. Will it be dynamic like this one? How is it going to be exactly? Yeah, I don't get.
Yeah, so the APY is the APY will be flexible, just like you're seeing right now. The team can adjust it. So we're still going to be able to adjust it. And like I said, with version 2, with I think kind of when you're looking at how our treasury is going to work in version 2, it's essentially going to be ideally always earning money for us. And being able to always earn money for us allows us to constantly do buybacks and burns. In Midas Touch, we were doing the whole plan with Midas Touch was going to be like a once a week type thing. With the profits from our treasury, we'd be able to do it way more frequently. So because we'd be able to do consistent buybacks and burns or buybacks and add to LP, it allows us the ability, and of course, growing our treasury along the way too. It allows us at least to tinker with the APY some. So I can't give a firm answer on what our APY will be. I can just say that we're happy with where it is right now. And on version 2, we'll tinker with it and have it make sense for the project itself. And right now, if you're looking at Midas, we've had negative bond discounts for really probably the last couple of weeks. And I mean, that was very intentional on our part too. We didn't want people to, another way that whales were kind of circumventing the system is they would, whenever the discounts, especially when we were like peak FOMO, when we had 100% discounts on the bonding, that was way too much. We just had whales going crazy into it and then just nuking the price as a result. Because essentially, as long as the price was staying in that, $300, $400 range, you were getting tokens at like $150 to $200 price. I mean, it was almost a guaranteed easy win at that point. So essentially with version 2, yeah, the APY is going to be dynamic to what it is right now. It's going to be something that the team's constantly monitoring. And then we'll also be factoring in bonding with that too, because obviously we're not going to keep negative bonding discounts the entire time. We need to be able to incentivize people to bond because it helps grow their treasury too. So yeah, short answer is I can't tell you definitively what we're going to keep the APY at. I can just say that it's going to be dynamic and it'll be whatever the team thinks is sustainable.
Okay, bro. Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, let me see. I got a couple other questions here. DBJ,
May I
Uncle
ask another
Raymond.
question, Ben, please?
Yeah, go for it.
Regarding the minting, as you said, you were planning discounts on the minting, but whales were basically making too much use of that and making havoc on the protocol. What about making a capping on how much one can mint? I know it would
Making
be difficult with multiple accounts, but that would place a bit of security to avoid these crashes, right? Right?
I believe there is a maximum amount you can buy on minting. I just think it's a really high maximum amount. Um, that it really isn't something we've talked too much about. I think with version 2, we're not going to be doing nearly the crazy stuff that we were doing in version 1, where we had 100%. I mean, I think at one point it got up to 110%. We wouldn't be doing kind of stuff like that for version 2. We're going to be doing at least like reasonable. We're going to be doing reasonable discounts, I can say. But yeah, as Nebson pointed out, there is like a max amount you can buy. It's just pretty high right now. And I can talk to the team, but I don't think having like a max, like a lower max limit really makes sense. I think as long as the discount rates aren't like crazy degen, that it would be okay. I think when you're looking at like discount rates of like 10 to like 20%, even 20% to me is pretty high. Um, I think when you're looking at stuff like that, I'm more okay with that instead of doing what we were doing. So I'm not too worried about like the max buy limit or lowering it per se. I can talk to the team about it, but I have a feeling we're probably going to be on the same page on this.
No, I understand your point. You're basically trying to have control just to keep things sustainable. What I'm saying about is that instead of limiting these bonuses sort of to everybody, you would just limit them to the individuals. Because as long as you have multiple persons making use of this, things would remain sustainable. The problem is when we have single individuals, like a very limited amount of persons making use of this with high volumes, and that is where it goes all crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does, but I think the reason it went so crazy is because we had the discount rate set really high. Like we had the discount rate set to 50% pretty much. Like most of the time on version 1, the discounts were 50% or above. That's just way too high. I don't think we would have had nearly the vicious fall that we had if we hadn't had massive minting discounts. I think if we had kept the minting discounts to 10 to 20% the whole time, I don't think we would have gone down as far as we did personally.
Right, right. All right. Thanks for that.
Thanks, man. DBJ, what you got, man?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Hello, everyone. Hello, Midas team. So I just wanted to ask, we're making all these marketing strides into DeFi 4.0 or DeFi X, etc., and claims on how we will use the treasury funds, but there isn't really any announced strategy, and the treasury balance is significantly low, like compared to the total volume locked and the market cap. So I'm just trying to say, when will some of these strategies be revealed to actually encourage people that are in it for the long term to hang out here? And I guess that's about it. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I mean, we had kind of unveiled some of it when we did the time investment, and then in the previous AMA we had talked about that we were going to be doing some other investments too, and I think I'd even posted about some of them. The issue is that the time investment, we pulled out of time because time just fucking shit itself. I mean, time's going through a really rough period right now. So is Olympus DAO. In terms of the like strategy for what we're going to be doing with it. The closer we get to actually putting the investments in, we'll be disclosing what the things are that we're investing in. And like I said yesterday, I think I think even the official account had tweeted I believe it tweeted that we had a couple investments lined up. So we have two things that we're going to be getting into here pretty shortly. Once one of them is really close. The other one's pretty close too. But once we're about to go into it, that'll be something that we announce that, hey, we're kind of like what you see with MCC on their Twitter or Refi on their Twitter. They announce whenever they put in a large position into something. We'd essentially be doing the same thing. I don't know if we tweet it out or if we do a Medium article, but yeah, we'd be announcing when we have put like a position into some type of project.
Cool. Yeah, I just I hope we can just move towards like sort of semi-transparency. I know not entirely transparent, but just semi-transparency on how the treasury volume will be used. Because in my experience at this point, that is what defines the success of an OM fork or a DAO. So, but yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I'm really not worried about the transparency of the team. I mean, they've always kept me up to date on stuff too. And I mean, I guess I'm part of the team too, but it was even that way just when I was an advisor. I'm really not worried too much about the treasury strategy because we have two pretty good projects picked out right now. And considering the team is anonymous and the amount of communication that we've had from people that don't usually like communicating, I mean, for me personally, I'm fine. I've never had any problem doing these type of things. But in terms of the other team members that are like dev based, communication for them is usually pretty difficult. So I think our communication honestly has been really good. What we would not want to be doing right now is announcing the projects that we're going to be putting our treasury into. So on this type of thing is where I usually would just ask for a little bit of patience from people because, okay, if we announce here's what we're going to be getting into, we're just going to get front run by people. And that wouldn't really make much sense. Like right now, we haven't disclosed what the two projects that we're investing in are because we're just going to invest in them. And then once we have it invested, we don't have any problem announcing it, just like we did with the time thing. It didn't work to do the other investments because they were kind of part of the time ecosystem and it didn't make a lot of sense to do it, which is why, I mean, we pulled out of the time investment, but obviously, we want to be able to make that back. Crypto goof, I'm sorry, I'm like going back and forth between here and then the general chat, basically saying never show your hand, #smart. That's essentially kind of what it is. We're going to be showing it once we actually do the investment. It's just up until then it doesn't make really much sense for us to disclose even what blockchain it's on, because we don't want people sniffing it out and then essentially front running us.
No, I respect that, and I totally understand. Like, don't ever show your hand. I just mean, like, as we move forward as a community towards potentially becoming more like a DAO, I just think that having transparency surrounding, or like not transparency either, just information surrounding what the treasury plans to do to maintain its investments and its returns, I think is healthy, because that's what separates these weak OM forks from the strong OM forks, is treasury management. But yeah, cool. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Lisa, I don't know how to say your name. I invited you up to speak, and then Russ the Must, I invited you up to speak too. And Jolly Dangerous, I don't think you ever asked a question, man. Maybe I'm tripping, but if you...
Hello?
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my bad. I was just kind of like waiting for everybody else to do their thing. How many questions can we ask right quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Just go ahead. I mean, it's pretty informal, so it's just whatever you're comfortable with. Go ahead.
All right. So I was reading that article that was in the announcements. I forgot who posted it. I think it was either Jen or Golden Boy. It was that article about how to fix DAOs and rebase tokens and stuff like that. Some of the stuff I agree with, some of the stuff I didn't, but there was this part that came up, and it was talking about doing away with rebases. And in lieu of rebases, it would be like airdrops of stable coins. So what I got from it was the reason for that is with rebases, you have like 1,000 taxable events if you save for like a year. And the other part was instead of rebasing the token itself because that increases inflation, they would do airdrops into stable coins because one, it would help give back in the form of stable coins, so that way you're technically still getting rewards, but it's not also inflating like the token itself. Is that something that you guys are going to be getting into? Because something whoever posted that article was saying that this is kind of like what we're going to be doing with Midas.
Yeah, so that and I can actually pull it up here because I reached out to the guy and DM'd him. It was bloodx.eth. And I'll post this again in the general chat, just so you guys know kind of what he's talking about. It's a great read, by the way, so I highly suggest if you guys haven't to check it out. I think right now, I mean, in the team we talked about it a little bit, and even back in version 1, CM Kid, before he had sold his positions, had wanted to talk to us about doing away with rebasing because he thought rebasing was the main downfall of the time tokenomics, of the Ohm tokenomics. And we had looked at even doing kind of like an auto caking method similar to what like PancakeSwap does in their staking. Right now, at least with version 2, what we're going live with is what we have right now with the rebasing. Maybe that's something we do down the line too. But right now, we think that between the treasury doing investments, profitable investments, and then buying the tokens back, and staying with stable APY and not too crazy of mint discounts, we think that should be fine for right now. Maybe that's something down the line we look to do. And that's also something like I said, I reached out to bloodx.eth to try and see if we can get a time to talk, and maybe get him on a call with the team to kind of talk about different methods. But right now, at least, just for version 2, we're going to be launching with the rebasing because it would be it'd be a pretty big pivot right now to do away with rebasing at the moment. But I love the article. I thought it was great. I actually agreed with most of the points that he made in there. Right now, it's just not quite feasible for us to pivot that hard and do it. But I think that is something, especially if I can get on a call with BloodX, along with some of the team members, that would be something I think that'd be really cool to flesh out, see how could maybe Crown change it up some.
Okay, cool. Appreciate that. Also, the last thing is like in the short term, will Crown version 2 have a wrapping feature? 1, to fight taxes, and 2, to be able to do cross-chain investing.
I honestly, man, I'm not sure on that. Let me ask one of the guys. I can't remember what they came down on, if we were going to be doing wrapping or not. I want to say they said yes, but don't hold me to that. Let me ask the guys real quick. Do you have any other questions while I'm asking this?
Yeah, I mean, well, the last thing is like permission-based thing. Could I repost this AMA?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, this is a more informal one. It's just me. But yeah, I'm totally comfortable doing it.
Appreciate it.
All right, I'm just waiting for all right, yes, we will have wrapping. Okay, yeah, so we'll have wrapping.
Dope, man. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you, man. Lisa, go ahead. Lisai Sus. I don't know. I hope I'm not, but I hope that's not like your actual name, because then I'd feel kind of bad. But
no, God, no, it's not. My kids actually made it up when I signed up for a Discord. Like that's what it pulled in because they used my email and password.
Yeah.
So now I get this whack ass name that makes me look like a girl. It's like they used it on I think it was like Roblox or something where it was like Lisa is like sus, like suspect or whatever.
Oh yeah. I get. Oh, Lisa is sus. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Okay.
So my question is our current stakeholders, when we shift over, are we getting taxed?
No, that's really the main point of buying right now, and why I've said like a bunch on Twitter, especially that like now is the best time to buy because you're buying pre-tax essentially.
Okay.
I mean, you can, like I've said, we're holding off most of the marketing until version 2, but right now is really the best time to get in because you're getting in pre-tax on the buys. And especially if you're just going to be staking like most people in here have currently been doing, it just makes the most sense right now to buy now and then switch over and avoid that buy tax.
Okay. And then once we switch over, we have to restake again back in order to get all the benefits.
Yeah, correct. I believe that is going to end up being the case. Is people will unstake, swap their Midas over, or swap their crown over their crown version 2, and then just restake.
Okay.
If it changes, I mean, I handle the marketing side of the stuff. So in terms of dev specific stuff, I'm pretty sure that's the case. But if it's something if that isn't, the team will make an announcement when we're getting closer to that time. But like I said early on before I started taking questions, I believe he said auto stakes after the swap. Okay, yeah. So article says that auto stakes after the swap. Okay. So it'll just, once we swap over, it's just going to automatically stake then.
Okay. And then if we unstake, is it the first 5 days we're getting taxed on, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's going to be that scaling tax that we had talked about in one of the in the AMA we did, where it's going to be the 30% kind of on that first day, and then scale down from 5%, etc. Pretty much every day.
And then after that, it's just an automatic 6%.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right. That was my only question.
Awesome, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man. Let me get good Gage GE. I don't know, man. Good Gage.
Me?
Yo.
Can you hear me? Yeah, hey.
Oh, let me get Uncle Rainman first, because I just realized he'd been sitting here for a minute. Uncle Rainman, go ahead.
How you doing?
How you doing, man? I'm good, bro.
Cool. So there's a few. It's gonna be more of a conversation than just a single question. In the transition over, there was a conversation about relaunching at like a 15 to 20% premium. In that scenario, is there anything to prevent bots from front running the price? The downside, there's not too much downside there because we'll actually be able to collect tax when they sell, or if they don't stake, whatever, that's not a big deal. But what happens in that scenario?
I believe we're going to be launching at the same. I believe that Jin had announced that we're going to be launching at the same price that version 1 ends at. So the price should be the same. I don't think it's going to be launching at a 15 or 20% price premium.
Okay, that's not too bad. And there's one more thing here about the change in DeFi, and I know you already went over it for staking. A few different options that let you lock in for separate periods of time. Would it be like a multiplier kind of thing over time? Because obviously we don't want to go back to that degen APY where we start to dilute faster than we can bring new demand in.
Yeah. So yeah, that is kind of one of the things we'd been talking about, in lieu of the fact that we weren't as bullish on nodes anymore. We'd be doing kind of a locked in, essentially like a locked in staking time. So, okay, let's say you have your crown, and instead of just doing the current 6 million APY, and guys, nothing I'm saying here is set in stone. I'm just giving a general example.
Things change every day.
Yeah, so let's say right now you want more than the 6 million APY. Well, if you want more than the 6 million APY, you're going to have to stake it for a longer period of time, instead of just being able to unstake it whenever you want. So let's say you wanted something like 15 million APY. Let's say we offered a 15 million APY staking. That type of plan you'd be looking at would probably have some type of time to where you staked it and you couldn't touch it. you'd be looking at something maybe like 7 days to 2 weeks. I don't really know. That is something we've
Yeah.
talked about, though. There's a really cool project, a really small one, coming that I had invested in a little while ago that had something called Chrono Pools. And it was just the coolest tech. It was essentially similar to this. You would stake in, you'd have a set APY that you'd receive. And now they had really long time frames. They had 7 days, 90 days, year, and they had 3 years, which is just ludicrous in my opinion. But essentially, 3 years got you the most APY. Now, what made this one separate and what made this cool, and I'd given this idea to the team too, of this would essentially be kind of what our Midas Kingdom would be. Instead of the throne nodes, we would have these type of like chrono pool type things.
Yeah, just lock it in for longer. And then
Yeah.
it's the same idea at the end of the day.
Well, the other cool feature of these chrono pools was that you would be able to take an advance on the total yield. So let's say if you went in with 5 crown and you locked it in for a year, and at the end of that year you would essentially get, like, let's say 100 crown. You could then take an advance from that total amount, and let's say like your advance was like 30 crown. So all of a sudden, if you go in with 5 crown, let's say you take yield for a couple days, and you could do an advance of like 30 crown. All of a sudden, you've made a pretty good return on that. The essentially the drawback to that would be that if you did any type of advance on the pool, you would lose all ability to take any more yield from it. You wouldn't be able to take any type of passive income from it. You'd have to wait for it to finish its full turn before you could take anything from it again.
Right, as a protection.
Yeah, as a protection. So when I had gotten into those pools myself, I did one for a 7-day, a 90-day, and then a year. And I pretty much just took the daily passive income from it for like 4 or 5 days. And then once I kind of had a good amount of initials covered from just the daily passive, I then did like advances on the 2 longest ones. And then just forfeited the right to pull daily yield from it or daily income from it. I thought it was like I'd sent the GitHub docs to the team. I think I actually know the dev who made it. It's a really cool idea and I really liked it. That would be something I honestly think could go really well in Midas Kingdom instead of the throne nodes. But yeah, that is kind of the things that we had kicked around most recently instead of throne nodes. Was what if we have kind of these timed staking pools instead of throne nodes?
Yeah, and they're great for reducing circulating supply.
That too.
Because then like at that point, the team can focus on liquidity. And if let's say 50% of people decide to lock up their crowns for at least a week, then for the next week, the pressure is increased, but like it works both ways, right? It's going to be great on the buy side, and then it's going to suck on the sell side because the liquidity has been reduced. But with the taxes put in place, we can actually like make it a really nice buy pressure scenario where it doesn't fade as badly after a few days of launching. Which kind of brings me to my next question of, we have that scaling on staking tax for 5 days. Is that for any period in time, or is it only the first 5 days after V2 launches? You muted, by the way, Pem.
That's really unfortunate. Sorry, can you ask that? Can you ask that again, bro? I just kind of started going, and I didn't even realize I was muted.
No worries. So we have the scaling on staking tax for the next 5 days once V2 launches. Is that an ongoing thing, or is it only after the new contract launches to try and protect it for the first integral 5 days?
Yeah, I believe it's only after the first 5 days. Oh, and Jin DM'd me too. So we are launching at a premium of 15 to 20%. So I guess I misspoke on that. So we'll be launching at, I guess, a premium. I know we had talked about that before, but I thought the team had said that it was going to be launching at the same price. So that's my bad, guys. I probably misread something. So yeah, I guess we will be launching at a 15 to 20% premium. So your initial question, I think you were asking, how are we going to prevent bots, I guess, from getting it early?
Yeah, in this case, for example, if you look at Magnet when they launched, I think last week, they launched at like $2.50, and they had like that vesting period to try and reduce the sell pressure over the first week. But what ended up happening was it went from $2.50 to almost $25 within an hour, and then $25 down to almost $1. So that's, even though they had like all kinds of protection contingencies in plan to try and protect the token, and knowing that like they had a range in mind they want to trade at, it kind of still backfired, and now they're trying to recover to get to the point where they want it to be. And in this case, it translates over to, we launch at a premium, which already looks really good on like Dex Screener, stuff like that. Is there anything that could be done? Like at the end of the day, is it feasible?
I mean, on things like this, it's going to be kind of tough, especially because we're not changing the name right now. It's going to still be Crown, so that type of stuff is going to be kind of a little bit. It's unfortunate. It's going to be hard to avoid bots. I mean, essentially, even with them coming in, I mean, essentially, we're going to be getting them on the way in and then basically the way out.
Right.
And I mean, the thing is that we do have that 30% unstaked tax on day one. And like, I think like it had been pointed out to me from the general chat, is that there's going to be auto staking on the switchover. So once it goes to V2, we're going to have that auto staking. So if you're unstaking, that's 30%. And then if you're, essentially, so like right now, it would be, well, I guess technically for bots, the best way to do it would be to essentially try and like snipe the listing and just eat the fact that they're going to be taking 12% on taxes. If people are buying in right now and planning to game the 15 to 20% launch, there's going to be that hefty unstaking tax. So I guess like right now, we're going to try and do everything we can in terms of like anti-snipe and anti-botting. Those aren't really, but because like I'm not on the dev side of it, I can't really give like concrete answers on that because I'm not familiar with that. I'm not really like, I don't know if you know who Trinos is. He was essentially a longtime member of my Telegram community. I mean, he's come up with pretty much like the best anti-bot, anti-sniping method, but I have no clue how to explain it because I'm not a dev, I mainly focus on the marketing
to you
stuff.
for owning up to it.
So that would be maybe something you could, tag Jin, Oryx, or Golden Boy in the chat and ask them. But I honestly, because I don't even know what anti-botting or anti-sniping methods really even look like in practice, I can't really give you too much of an answer on that.
No, that makes sense. And it's more for the community itself than like a person like myself. For me, I staked on day one, sold on like day two to recover my initial, and has like went almost 10 to 20 times my initial since. So it's not a big deal of how it launches and how it goes because I'm not really selling. But in terms of trying to expand the community, especially with the V2 launch, and trying to show whatever the DAO community, the DeFi of like 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera, of how are we progressing and why they should invest in the project, right? And that's where that question comes in. It's less for people who are willing to take a 30% haircut plus a 12% sell tax. And like obviously we're aiming to trade over $200, and that's the entire like tax incentive in place.
Yeah. Now I'm pretty confident. I'm really confident in our version 2 launch, and like I've said in the chat here, I was already really confident in Midas DAO. I was excited. I was already excited about Crown version 2, but really when Peaceful had kind of given us that idea, and that we're currently like working on right now, that to me, to me that's just going to be the biggest game changer anyways. So wherever our price is at for version 2, however many holders we're at, I'm really not concerned or worried about that. I honestly think once
I
we
agree with
can
you.
get our announcement out of the plan that Peaceful, myself, and the team have come up with, once we can actually get that out to the masses, I just am so confident that it is just going to be one of the craziest catalysts, because I really think it's just such a groundbreaking idea. I can't imagine it not picking up traction and doing incredibly well for everybody that's in right now. And like I said in the chat, I think it's the type of announcement that if we're really able to pull it off, I really think we're going to end up in like the top 20 tokens, period.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited.
I'm gonna back up your claim on this as like a closing and let other people talk, because obviously it's not just about one person. I think even if it wasn't a groundbreaking idea or a plan, the dev team has shown that they are gonna back up their words with actual actions and not necessarily. I don't want to bring up the term rug, but they're not gonna give up on the project when it is freaking red candle after red candle. There's a lot in place to protect the project. I think that separate, like I said, it doesn't have to be a groundbreaking idea. It just needs to be executed well. And that's like, man, that portion, I don't even need to say anything about it. Like all the actions in place speak for themselves.
I appreciate it, man. But yeah, I appreciate it. I will just say that like I guarantee, as long as no other project does it, and I like I said, myself and Peaceful, Solid, we'd all looked into this. I haven't seen any other project that has done anything like this. And it's funny because the type of project I would expect to actually do what we're going to do would have been Time, because of kind of how Danny is as a person. It would have made sense for him to do what we're going to end up doing. But yeah, I guarantee it's the most like, it's just going to be groundbreaking. I don't really know what else I can say about it other than that. And it's just going to take, once we have a lot of the legal work and legwork done with it, we'll be able to announce what it is. Because until then, I don't think people would take us seriously until they're like, oh, holy shit, these guys are serious. Like they got lawyers involved. They got all this shit involved. Like these guys are actually fucking doing it. That's the type of announcement that we're going to be coming out with when it's time. Is people are going to be like, holy shit, these guys are actually fucking doing this. The set of balls on these guys, bro. Yeah, I can't fucking wait, man. I can't. That's like, I'm excited about version 2. I think it'll be awesome. But at this point, I'm thinking months down the road. I'm thinking later into 2022, I think we're just going to fucking take over DeFi, man. I'm like super confident in it.
And that's okay. It looks like we're setting the road one brick at a time, and that's how it needs to be.
Yes, sir. And I don't know. As I said earlier in the little AMA here, I don't have a real time frame other than it's going to be after version 2. Like I said, we have to get a lot of legal and legwork done before we can really come out with an announcement saying what it is. And also, if during the process at some point we find out that we can't do it, let's say legal comes back and we can't do something, I would come out and say at that point, this is what we tried to do. This is what we were planning on doing, because it wouldn't be fair for me to just like keep teasing something and then just never talk about it one day, and then you guys be like, "Yo, what the fuck happened?" Because that'd be kind of shitty to do something
makes sense,
like
man.
that. Yeah, man.
Thanks for entertaining my questions. And
thanks,
good
man.
luck.
Appreciate it. Let me see. There's a couple questions here. Let's this back. Keep Kepison, bro. It's a public wallet, man. I mean, you can go look at it yourself, dude. Obviously, it's still there. Call me Kep. Okay, yeah, it's still there, bro. I mean, you can go look at the wallet. It's still there. It's a public wallet for a reason. If you go, I mean, it's like 2,200 crown. If you look at the crown, the staked crown holders, it's like 2,200 tokens. The wallet ends in 633. So no, I haven't sold a single penny from that. All right. good gauge. I'll take you as the last question, bro. I appreciate you waiting, man.
Yeah, I have just a short question. Do you know around how much AVAX should we load for the gas fees, or how much gas fees will be there for migration process?
Honestly, I would not be. That would be a technical question to probably ask them. I can't imagine. So on our highest volume day, man, I really wouldn't be the person to ask that because I honestly don't know. That'd probably be a question to maybe tag Jin or Golden Boy in the chat for. I can't answer. I don't know what the gas fees are going to be like on day of the launch. It's kind of tough for me to ascertain like what that would be. So I'd probably just ask one of them. But yeah.
All right. Thanks. All right.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. Go get. I gotta actually get my car fixed a little bit, unfortunately. And then I'm gonna go grab some. What? Wait, let me see what this question is real quick in the general chat. Sorry, I like go back and forth between. What I'm hearing is that Penn will cover all our gas fees. Nah, dude. Man. I ain't covering the gas fees for migration, bro. Come on, man. Man, Golden Boy, I'm not a simp, bro. Bro, I swear, if any woman had hopped on here, bro, I would have sounded like a fucking playboy. You feel me? I would have sounded like a playboy. Are you kidding me? I'm an island boy, bro. Yeah, island boys. Those guys would actually be kind of fucking funny to just. I might just pay them for a cameo just to talk about, like, do a little Midas style song. That would be actually fucking hilarious. I'm gonna do that. It's like $50, money well spent. I'm gonna do that. We could hear you blush with East last AMA, bro. I did not. All right, I did not blush, man. I've talked to her a bunch, man. That's beside the point. I'm off the market anyway. So, all right, guys. I appreciate the AMA here. Just a little informal thing. I love doing these type of things. So I'll probably do one next week, like next Monday. Hint, version 2 should be done by then. I mean, we even said that it was going to be between the 10th or the 14th. So yeah, next Monday, I'll probably maybe we do like a formal AMA, have the full team come on, kind of the post version 2 launch, kind of talk to the people, kind of assess where we're at. Yeah, I think that'd actually be that'd be pretty dope. So maybe we'll get that done. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And if somebody recorded this, if you want to repost it, cool. Otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna go grab some to eat. Appreciate y'all.